It will be really challenging for you to build a high quality, repeatable golf swing unless you're getting off to a really smooth start. So right after this, let's talk about some of the major keys that will allow you to make a very smooth takeaway and therefore a much more repeatable swing. Hey, this is Steve with HitItLonger.com. I'm on a journey to hit it longer and straighter off the tee, longer and straighter all the way to the green, because that's what makes golf more fun for me. So if that's you too, I hope you'll consider hitting the subscribe button, liking this video if you liked it, and leave a comment down below and let me see if I can get you a few more yards. Don't forget to pick up my free distance ebook, 50 tips for hitting your longest drives ever. I've left a link in the description below. You just have to go down, click it. It's an instant download. And I think there's going to be 2 or 3 good tips in there. They're going to help you get a little bit more yardage off the tee. Okay, I've got 4 major points to cover in this video. 3 of them actually occur before the club is even drawn away. So that means you're doing some work ahead of time in order to facilitate a much smoother takeaway. Let's get started. Okay, so number 1, when you're setting up to the ball, a lot of people will start to really squeeze. So getting that grip pressure ramped down, you really have to work on it. Sometimes is the only key in the swing you're making on the range that day. So if I were to line this up and I'm going to intentionally try to drop my grip pressure and my arm tension from the shoulders down, let's say about 20 or 30% in this swing. I'm going to really commit to staying soft on that grip, floppity from the arm down, just let it kind of hang and try to commit to that. All right, my second big key is making a good loose waggle before you pull the trigger. I think as soon as your body comes to rest for 1 second or more, then you would have to restart the whole engine again and overcome inertia. So if you keep a body in motion, it's like Newton's law. A body in motion tends to stay in motion. We don't have to overcome inertia, and it becomes much easier to get that takeaway going without any kind of a jerky start. Now, in order to keep us from coming to rest, once we get set over the ball, I'm going to make a waggle. The waggle is going to be a little bit of a preview actually on how I'm going to take the club back. So the waggle is done with very soft hands, just making a wrist cocking motion this way of, 45 to 60 degrees or so, just like that. And so not only does it give you a sneak preview, it keeps your joints loose and ready to go. Once you start standing over the ball for 1, 2, 3, 5 seconds in a row even, I've seen people without moving, you tend to get stiff and it causes you to draw the club back more jerky. So watch this time for my waggle. I'm going to try to stay nice and loose. And I'm just going to waggle and go like this. Okay, along that same line of keeping the body in motion is going to be to introduce a forward press. So it's something that was done a lot in the classic swing, decades ago. It was pretty universal to make a forward press back then. Now there's some guys, they don't make a lot of forward presses anymore, but I think it's going to really help you to get your swing off to a good start. So to make a forward press, I've got 3, key elements of that. So once I've made the waggle and I set the club down again, I'm going to make 3 little motions. Number 1 is going to be at the wrist. I'm going to forward press the grip about 1 inch with my wrist, just flattening out my wrist. See, my wrist has got a little bit of a cupped angle like that to it at address normally. And I'm just going to give a little press and I'm going to just flatten the wrist out. That's number 1. Okay, number 2, at the same time, I'm going to give my left hip a little bit of a bump laterally towards the target like this. It's about 1 inch or so, maybe even a ½ inch. It's very small. It should be relatively imperceptible unless you know what you're looking for. The third thing I'm going to do when making a forward press is I'm going to kick the right knee in. So the right knee will kick in about the same amount as the left hip is moving laterally, just tiny bit, watch. So let me show you what that looks like all together. It's a very, very subtle move, but it's going to actually give you a preview of how I'm going to be coming back down into the ball again. So we have a lot of things here that are keeping our good swing mechanics fresh in our head, kind of feeling like you're getting a little sneak preview of the movie that is to come, and that kind of helps you relax and not think about or worry about what you're going to do during the swing from a cold start. Let me see if I can put together those three actions into a good forward press. I like to say "and" when I do it, so it'll be waggle and go. So like this, set the feet, waggle, and. Ooh, that ball was murdered. And hopefully it looked very smooth to the camera. Okay, we're on to point number 4. This is the more major one, and it starts with the swing this time rather than before the swing like the other 3. And that is that we want to make a coordinated action with almost all the joints in our body in order to move the club. And there's a lot of precedence for this. You see, in most other sports motions, if we're talking about the wind-up phase, which is basically what the backswing is a wind-up. Look at other wind-up phases in other sports. For example, look at the discus throw, as I've got pictured here on the screen. The discus throw, the winding up is done with the entire body. It's turning the body, shifting the center of mass, using the legs, using the feet, using the torso to wind up. This keeps the motion very smooth. Another good example would be more of a linear one, would be like free throw shooting. It's linear, it's very simple, it's out in front of you. What do I do to wind up to get enough power to get the ball over the rim on a free throw? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend my knees this way, and I'm even going to flex at the hips this way, just like that, and then I go right up and reverse everything. So I'll go into a hip extension, I'll go into a knee extension, and I'll also go into an ankle extension, as I might have even flexed. Watch this, there might even be a little bit of flexion at the ankle joint as well. So I'm going 3 flexions into 3 extensions. I'm doing it with the whole body from the feet all the way up to the center of mass and the hips, and that's what enables a really good free thrower to shoot a high percentage and look so smooth as they're doing it. If we were to adapt those points to a golf swing, we would be moving the club back with the feet and the knees this way. We would be allowing the trunk and the shoulders and the arms to respond to the knees and the feet by winding this way. So now I've got an entire body motion. If you watch, I'll just put one arm only on the club and you'll see no wrists, no arms, just body this way. And it gets me back to what I call the A position, when the butt of the club gets about even with the right pocket. This is where I'm going to use a pushing force here to start to cock the wrists. So it looks something like this. First, I'm going to get it off to a start by moving from the center of mass. Just like any other sport, the wind-up phase starts at the center of mass. I don't know why people want to change it when it comes to golf. So it will be forward press and coordinated action of all the big muscles and joints in the body. Gets that club going back nicely on the arc with the face of the club square to that arc. Let's watch it from this angle one time. Okay, again, I'm going to use no arm or wrist, just coming at you, just big portions of the body here, and right to there. Club face is pointing right at the ball. Club is moving around the perfect arc. Now I will start to wind up the wrists, and I'll end up in this classic first parallel position here where the club shaft is pointing at the target. All right, let's try to put it all together. Remember, you're gonna step in with the feet, get them set, but never let the body come to rest. Dance if you need to with your feet as you're adjusting them to your line. Wiggle your fingers and your hand on the grip. Always stay loose. But I'm gonna count it. It's gonna be waggle and 1. So 1 will be my A position as I get it back to here. I'll say them out loud so you can follow along. So I would walk into it, I'd stay real loose. Take the grip first. Set the club face, set the feet. Here we go. Waggle and waggle and. When done right, all of these components can not only give you nice smooth tempo and takeaway off the ball, but they can also put your club and your body in such good position early in the backswing that it can start to be hard to get your club off of that freshly developing circle. You're getting momentum of the club as it starts to speed up and it starts to establish this plane and arc, and it's got momentum. Once you get it back on the right momentum, when smooth, it starts being easier to get tempo, time the face, and easier to keep the club on plane all the way through the swing once you've got it started right. Hey, so I'd love to see you give this method a try. I call it the waggle and 1 method. Forward press, waggle, leads right into a smooth takeaway. Make sure that you've got the hands and arms extremely supple. Really practice suppleness when you're on the range next time. And once you've worked on this for a little bit, I hope you'll come back to this video and leave us a comment. Let everybody know, give us an update. How did it work for you? All right, I'm gonna go back to working on my smooth takeaway. My sticky point is usually getting my hands and arms a little bit tense if I'm going for a bigger hit. I know that's a trap. If I want to get higher speed, I should do the opposite. I should relax into it and get more like a rag doll. So I'm going to work on that first point a little bit more. But hey, if I don't see you in the next video, I hope I see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Take care.